Hi, this is Squeal. We're sponsored by The Peel, and Breee-an and I would like to thank Thomas for an ugly weekend. Go on, thank Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
We'll be back. Okay, we can cut the false clapping now. This is Squeal. Yes, we're sponsored by The Peel, as said before, and more to the point, we're looking at B News right now. Now, the opening page, the headlines, is that we're stuffed, we're over, it's over. This is untrue. We were never going anywhere. This was a false media release sent by a disgruntled member of Bent TV who made it all up. So we're still here, and I'd like to introduce you to the people. Now, I'm not going to mention this person that happens to be your housemate. What's your name, Amy Henderson?
I'm Amy Henderson.
Yeah, but we're not going to mention who sent the email. Chris Gill, you're an activist. Welcome.
Thank you, Graham.
Who are you representing?
The Victorian Gay and Lesbian Rights Lobby, and I'm not going to comment on the large pool of blood that you're sitting in over there.
Exactly, underneath. Now, hello, what's your name now?
My name's Dennis.
Dennis, hello, welcome. You've got a skill that we haven't got. Now, I'd like to talk to the man that's been at the Peel all weekend. Breee-an, you're famous?
No.
Oh, for God's sake, you're all over Next Great Fest with this famous choreographer. You know, you could have become a footy player, but you became a choreographer, didn't you?
Yes.
Poor Foco. Britt, you're a lesbian. Introduce yourself.
I'm Britt. Hi.
Okay, we're here. It's Monday night. Apart from being at the Peel, I am actually also recovering for hanging around with a bunch of Greeks, bunch of wogs last night at the Peel. Monique is supposed to be in this position, but Monique never came back after.
She's shaving her back or something.
She's not. You bitch. She picked up at the Star Hotel with Drag Kings on Friday night, and no one's seen her since. So basically, that's what we do. We just go out and party and do nothing that's politically correct or anything else beyond that. Okay, let's go to the first guest. I'm sorry, you're done. You're second. I'm going to go bang into Chris Gill. Chris Gill, this book, show this book, Over the Rainbow, took 7 years to produce, mega dollars, and why?
It's an educational resource for the lesbian and gay community of Victoria, and it's a guide to the law. This book educates the bits the other books don't educate.
No, but you didn't say that launched the other night. I mean, there was great alcohol and great food and stuff. The Law Institute paid for it. And why do we need it?
What do we need?
Well, the law has changed recently, how it treats our relationships here in Victoria. So this contains a guide to how the law treats lesbian and gay relationships, property, sex, death, love, pets, property, small fur animals, the whole, it's all in here.
Who gets custody of the pets? That's a messy one.
It's very
I'm sorry, that was a big lesbian
messy.
issue, a little gay boy issue with poodles. More to the point, who gets my property? I mean, you know, it used to be 2 years, and I could dump it in 2 years' time. I mean, it's still 2 years? Or the day before 2 years, before I get the 50% of every...
Basically, if you and your partner declare that you're a couple, then in most areas of the law, then you'll be treated as a couple. And, you know, that could be 2 years or 2 minutes or 20 years. But if there's a dispute over property, then the law will take a whole variety of things into account.
So it doesn't matter how long you've been together? I thought there was sort of like a limit of time, like 12 months or something, before you're a de facto relationship.
The amount of time that you've been together as a couple is one of the factors, but not the only factor which a court will consider in the event that there's a dispute.
What are other factors?
There's a list of other factors. The degree to which you're financially interdependent, whether somebody's staying at home and looking after the house or doing work around the house and the other one's working, whether there's the care of children involved in the relationship, a variety of factors.
Well, I'd like to publicly announce to everyone that you're dumped. It's as simple as that. I'm not risking it. So, where do you get these? This is a new print. Didn't you sell 10,000 of them?
Well, look, we started distributing this at midsummer this year, and we've distributed all 10,000 copies, basically. So we're about to do another print run. There are some copies left. There's a few hundred copies left, I think, at the Victoria Law Institute, or the Law Foundation will give you a copy, or Victoria Legal Aid. You can download it also as a PDF off the Victorian Gay and Lesbian Rights Lobby's website, which is www.awholebunchofletters.org.
Well, that sounds very good.
Use your search engine.
So does it cover like Indigenous situations? Or are you now treated equal to us under law, gay law?
As far as relationships go, race, religion, ethnicity, these issues don't affect how the law treats relationships as such.
Does it cover the fact that you can wait a longer time being an Asian or an Indigenous or an African at a particular gay bars in this town before you get seen? I'm not going to name it, am I? But it's not the Peel, let me tell you right now. Have you ever faced that?
Yes.
Can you...
Mainly in Sydney.
Oh, in Sydney. You're not getting it in Melbourne?
No.
Boy, can I tell you which bars to go to where they won't
Tell me.
They won't see you. But we're not going to say that in the slides because we'd lose one of our major sponsors. No, it's actually not a sponsor at all. But I live in a certain suburb in a certain part of Melbourne. I'm not going to say where I live, and people that know, and there's a particular bar, they just won't see you. And I don't know why that is. Maybe you're just darker skinned. They don't see Asian, don't see dykes either. That's okay. Okay, what else do we need to know from this book, Chris? And what are you fighting for now?
Well, we're going to be doing some further community education around the issues because obviously if folks don't know about the law, then they're not going to know what rights that they have.
And if we're being treated pretty much as equal now, is there any room for improvement? Like, surely there is more that can be done.
There's still very important areas of the law where we're not treated as equal, and we need to continue to do work around them. One of the superannuation...
We're going to have to go to news desk, but I don't want to be an equal. I want to be Melbourne Gasser and Gerd. I don't want to be part of mainstream society. Lesbiana, here we go. Welcome, Jude Dennis, news desk.
Thanks, Graham. Australia's toughest union, the Construction, Forestry, Mining and Energy Union, has thrown its weight behind the queer students at Victoria University's St Albans campus. The CFMEU black-banned the campus after the university announced plans for a new student union building minus the queer room, which had been established midway through last year. CFMEU organiser Ian Markham met Deputy Vice-Chancellor Michael Hammerson to discuss the university's plan. On April 30th, the day construction was due to begin, he called his members out and put a black ban on the construction work. This week, the university administration saw the logic of the argument and agreed to the students' revised plan, including a queer room, women's room and an overseas students' room. God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, was the Sydney Archbishop George Pell's comment after refusing the Eucharist to around 20 queer people on Sunday, May 19th. Dr. Pell made the comment following the Pentecost Mass at St Mary's Cathedral. Meanwhile, at Melbourne's St Patrick's Cathedral, Archbishop Dennis Hart followed Pell's example by refusing Eucharist to 8 members of the Rainbow Sash movement. While both archbishops refused the Eucharist, they did offer the Rainbow Sash wearing Catholics a blessing instead. And that's back to you, Graham.
Hi, thanks back. Welcome back. George Pell.
Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. That's so original by now, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, it was very
fantastic.
creative in, I think, the 70s activism days. People know that George Pell, actually, I would hate to be sued personally before my partner gets my property, but did people aware that George Pell had this group called the Spice Girls around him, which were very well-known homosexual men in the Catholic Church? Not that I'm implying or alleging that George Pell would be self-bashing someone in his own community.
Good old Catholic Church, still giving communion to rapists, murderers and thieves, but refusing gay people.
Alleged? No, just because,
in my opinion.
Just because the Catholic Church under Archbishop Pell in Melbourne before he went to Sydney disbanded their pedophile research unit. Why? Because they're getting too close to people in the church? We don't know, and it's not our area.
No, he's not in Melbourne now. He's like the head of the church in Australia. Because he's in Sydney.
Directly into
So that
Rome.
affects us.
And we all know what happens in Rome, particularly other countries, like other bishops in other countries I've just come from, but I'm not going to go there because I could get killed. So I'll just leave that one down there.
Oh no, maybe you should go into it.
No. Hello, this is Squeal, you're with us. Now, what do we need to ask him about these rampant trade unionists that are going in and destroying our universities? Do we need a queer room? I mean, why can't those little girly boys and rough lesbians go and mix with other students?
Yeah, I've had a lot of talk with people at uni about this in queer spaces and women's spaces as well. There's a lot of arguments about do we need them, and apparently the arguments I've heard, I haven't actually been to university, so I don't know.
Jeez, is it showing?
Oh, thanks. Did you go?
It's really bad television.
But apparently because it's the same argument as why do we need gay bars? Why do we need gay bars? Why can't we just go to every other bar?
Or gay TV shows.
You know, why do we need a gay TV show?
Well,
Why don't you just watch every other TV show?
I reckon we've got like 4 or 5 years left where I am. I mean, seriously, I reckon there's a future, which is what we want. I don't want separatist bars and, you know, publications.
So you want assimilation?
Yeah. But I don't want to be. I want to be on the left. I don't want to be part of the mainstream. But no, quite seriously, Chris, you went through university and you had a queer room.
Yes, we had Melbourne University Gay Society, or Gay Soc as it was.
Which was hidden away up in that.
It's a tiny, small little room. We managed to cram quite a lot of people in there. Actually, they were sitting on each other.
But that's when we were illegal. That's when we were illegal. We had a fight.
You think we don't have to fight anymore?
It's about identifying with people that have the same sort of issues as you as well. I mean, particularly like at university, there are a lot of young people who are perhaps unsure about their sexuality, so actually having a space that they can go and just to hang out with people that know what they're going through, who have been through what they're going through and all of that sort of thing, just being able to identify and, you know, being able to actually say, as much as, you know, the Catholic Church thinks we're wrong, but, you know, actually saying that it is all right to actually be gay. So you know, I think, I mean, at the moment, because of...
Yes, we do. But talking about the queer space thing, like when I was at uni, you know, everyone who was queer, as we say, titters, which basically means the same thing. You know, they all knew that it was there, but the majority of them didn't use it.
Yeah, because they're apparently identified as gay, lesbian, you know, queer, whatever. So that word again?
Titter.
Titter. Is that
Which one's
true or
sister?
what? Was it Murray or just...
No, it's mainly more Torres Strait Island.
Titter?
Yeah, titter. So whenever we go out, we don't say, you know, queer or fag or whatever those, you know, the mainstream words.
No, in Bahasa Indonesia.
That's Titter.
This
is Tidas, isn't it?
Titter, T-I-D-A. Titter, or sometimes it's spelled T-I-double-D-A, which basically means sister girl.
Oh, I love that.
What is sister girl?
To us.
Well, can we use it as well?
Yeah, of course you can. Aren't we all about sharing and caring?
Oh, we stole your land. No, you won't let us use your language. Jesus. We're going to be back any second. This is Squeal, and we'll be back to talk politics and find out exactly who you are.
Okay.
Squeal, we'll be back. That's enough, really seriously. You can all stop wanking on. This is Fluff TV Squirrel. And we are here, unlike what B News tells us and MCV. I
just want to say that I thought that was a pretty even article. Like
amazingly fair. And it's really fair. I mean, it's true that, you know, Steve needed a break, and he was true that this was going to, you know, that 16 to 1 voted to reduce it from 45 to half hour for program. It's absolutely all true. It's just a pity that some people can't accept democracy, but we're not going to get into that. We'll move on because we're not bitchy and I don't hold grudges the rest of my life. I quote that one. Hello. Hi. What is your name?
Breee-an.
Breee-an, you're famous. Breee-an Munns. What do you do?
So I've been told. Well, I'm a part of the Next Wave Festival and I choreographed a show called Squeal S34 Ep09.
How old are you?
Of Fire. I'm 28.
Aren't you a bit old?
No.
Oh, and I'm sorry, but isn't that for kiddies?
No.
Can't you go out and get a real job like in a bank or something?
That's what choreographers do when they get a little bit older.
But when they
They
can't
usually start
dance,
as dancers.
yeah.
Did you start as a dancer?
Well, like in the fashion world, they say once you turn 25, you're a has-been. So.
Oh, we are. Don't worry. Okay, has been. Tell us about your show.
Yep. Okay. Well, Squeal S34 is just basically a combination of Indigenous, modern, contemporary dance. So when I was with the Aboriginal Dance Theatre,
You're from them.
yes.
You really are famous.
Yes.
Wow. How long were you with the Aboriginal Dance Theatre for?
Well, I auditioned in '85, was accepted, so I started in 1986 and I graduated in 1990. So then it was a 5-year course. So we did everything in 5 years, what it mainly takes a mainstream dancer to do in 10.
Wow.
And now it's a 3-year course, and now they're doing it in 3 years.
Well, I haven't seen the show. Tell us more about it.
Okay.
I
Yes. Okay.
I heard something, sorry, about you were saying before that, so this is sort of Indigenous modern dance,
Yeah.
but the dancers are not
No.
Indigenous.
Yes, correct. And I chose that for a
Wow.
reason. Because when I was with the Aboriginal Dance Theatre, we used to travel through Asia a lot, and we used to do cultural workshops. So when we used to teach them a version of a Indigenous contemporary dance style, they picked it up really easily. So I thought, well, if they can do it, you can take this style back to Australia, and European dancers can do the same thing.
What countries in Asia?
Well, I've been mainly all through Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, mainly those areas. So I practically, I've danced for about 18 years, and in those 18 years, I've been around the world 5 times through dance.
On our taxes? On our taxes?
Yeah.
That's outrageous, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah. So now I'm 28, a bit old, so I thought, as the principal dance teacher, Paul Saliba, who still is with the Aboriginal Dance Theatre, he said, once you do turn 25, you have to think about what other direction you want to go or you need to go, because you can't be a dancer forever. Because with dance, okay, you've either got your knees to think of, because you've got a lot of knee injuries, your back, okay. Yes, we do spend a lot of time on our knees. Yeah, so
With George Carroll. George Carroll.
On his knees.
So I had a passion for choreographing, and that's what I like to do, and that's where my heart is, and I have something to offer to mainstream dance. So.
Well,
Have you
what's
choreographed
famous?
many? Am I?
I saw you in Fringe walking around with that fist up a puppy last week, and I actually won Fringe Best New Act of Embarrassment of the Year or something. Go and ask him something intelligent.
Oh, okay. Well, I was actually going to just ask if you've choreographed many shows before, if this is sort of a new thing for you.
Yes, I have choreographed a lot of other shows, but they were mainly just for because I do work in the education system as well, so I actually work through Nexus Arts, which is an arts agency from Elsternwick. So I actually do a 1-hour full-on energetic cultural workshops through the schools.
So
that's just
with
with
high
secondary and primary. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And I'm one who tends to make things happen for me. So if I, don't see anything that's interesting for me in the sense of you go see some shows, and and I try not to be too judgmental. But some shows, especially dance shows, you see it's well, what trip were they on?
No, better than that. I'm sorry. I look a lot at dance, and I keep thinking, if I want to have sex, I'll have it at home. Why am I watching people pretend to have sex on stage?
Yeah.
Because it's art.
Yeah.
No. I have an arts background too, and I just want something to take me emotionally somewhere.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask just quick, are you really hard on your dancers? Because you were a dancer?
That's
It's
quite
very,
interesting.
yeah.
No, I'm more laid back because I find when I was going through the dance theatre, we used to have choreographers and teachers who were really strict, but I'm more laid back. So
Is that
yeah.
because you
I went through
respond
that?
better?
Yeah.
So that's
And I think that if you come across in a more laid back thing, then
people are more
yeah,
readily,
exactly,
readily going to
yes.
try and please.
Listen, kids, we're about to go in a second. We just discovered the floor manager and does that in 15 seconds. Takes us. So, Chris, we'll come back because I know you have no arts background. But we're going to go to the news desk and let's hear some real activist stuff. Jude Dennis, go for it.
We're here, a resource for childcare workers has been released. This booklet has been produced by lesbian parents for early childhood workers. Lesbian parented families are increasing in number and visibility. As parents are keen for early childhood workers in creating a warm and affirming environment for the children. The booklet aims to give workers ideas on how to acknowledge and celebrate differences in families and challenge homophobia. Children who have lesbians and gay men in their families have the same rights as other children to see their families recognised and valued. The people who put this booklet together are confident that workers want to come to combat prejudice and discrimination. So they've set up examples of how workers can respond to questions and develop play activities that are inclusive of all children. This booklet is available from the Darebin Community Health Centre and was funded by the City of Darebin. Dykes on Mics and In Your Face need money during 3CR's radiothon to keep broadcasting news and queer culture to people who don't identify with mainstream community. This year's radiothon runs from June 3rd to 16th with a target of 125,000. Its theme is Radio Without Borders, a humanitarian and political statement in support of refugees and asylum seekers. 3CR was the first radio station in Melbourne to cover lesbian and gay news and entertainment. And so to support their radiothon and keep Dykes on Mics and In Your Face on the air. And that's back to you, Graham.
Hey, thanks, Jude. That's the editor of Lesbiana. Thank you very much as usual. Dennis, would you hurry up? For God's sake, can't you run faster? Jesus, you're pathetic. You're such a-
Dennis.
Doesn't Dennis run like a girl? I'm sorry. Let's talk about this. Shut up, Paul, will it? Let's talk about discrimination. What discrimination was Jude talking about in a book? Oh, was faith discrimination, have you?
Yes, heaps of times.
Where?
Where? I don't have to be really...
No.
Yeah. In Melbourne or Sydney?
Both, actually.
Really?
But more in Sydney than Melbourne.
Yeah, I think that's probably very true.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's, we live in a crazy world, and, and I think it's like, it's in the year 2002 now, and, people are still judged on the colour of their skin, and not only their skin, but
And
their
people
sex.
say we
And
don't
it's
need
crazy and it's
clearance.
stupid. Exactly, yeah.
Well, I judge men on the colour of their skin quite often.
Oh, yes, so do I. I'm a vanilla liquor.
God, did you have to say that blatantly? And the things you mobs say, it's just outrageous. Chris, what do we need to change in the laws to allow this little vanilla liquor of their lifestyle?
Well, the first thing is, of course, is that discrimination against people on the basis of race, gender, and sexuality, a whole variety of... basically, discrimination is illegal in Victoria, and there are things that people can do. Mind you, 84% of lesbians and gay men surveyed by the Gay and Lesbian Rights Lobby a couple of years ago reported that they'd experienced some discrimination or harassment at some point in their life. So that's still an issue. We still need to do community education. We still need to encourage and support people to take action under the law to eliminate discrimination.
Well, what's wrong with good bashing? I love a good bashing.
Okay.
Let's go. There are a few faggots on about it. Oh, sorry, that's so non-PC. No, but they're quite seriously, there's a lot of violence still, isn't there?
There's still violence occurring in Victoria at the moment. There's been some recent instances of violence at beats, usually gangs of teenage youths harassing gay men in parks and public
That's only
places.
because they didn't get a route on the way home from Chapel Street. They go over to Alma Park between 11:30 12:30 at night. And
Tell them
didn't get a
where it
route.
is.
Alma Park. I want everyone to know where the beats are. The whole world is a beat, to quote Chris Gill from 20 years ago.
The whole world's about if you're heterossexual, you can hold hands and kiss and carry on heterosexuals, and God bless them, you see that happening all the time, and that's the kind of freedom that we hope eventually that lesbians and gay men can enjoy, which is to hold hands, kiss and express affection in public without fearing violence or harassment.
Except homosexuality doesn't seem to be something that is really discussed in schools, and getting it's gangs of teenagers. You were just saying that predominantly are doing this, and so get them early and
Hang on, aren't they
educate
just sexually
them.
frustrated? Aren't they ones who haven't worked out their sexuality?
Look,
Well, yeah,
just
quite
on that,
possibly, but
yeah,
I
the
mean,
schools issue is really important, and there's a new kit actually being produced. Any folks at home, get a pencil and paper, write this down. Vic Health have produced or been involved in the production of a new kit called Pride and Prejudice. It's called Pride and Prejudice. It's a kit for anti-homophobia training in schools, and it's very, very good indeed.
And there is also there are also some groups around there. I know one called Outspoken, and they go into schools and educate. It's mainly universities though. first year universities, which is
Yeah,
maybe
see,
a bit too
it's
late.
almost getting them too late. I mean, even things like, in sex ed, homosexuality is not usually discussed or anything like that. And not only does it alienate young people who are feeling, who do have those feelings, but also, it's not saying that, hey, to judge someone on the basis of their sexuality is wrong.
Well, invisibility is a kind of discrimination, and that's one of the reasons why shows like this exist, is to try and combat that invisibility.
And like in 5 years we won't exist, is if you just scam someone else for money. Have you? AIDS, domestic violence, what are you doing next year?
There's two big dance productions that I wish to choreograph and actually get out there. The first one is about AIDS, and the second one is domestic violence.
What's your issue?
Well, the AIDS one is mainly a tribute because I've had some friends who've passed away, so it's just about that, and just in the sense of the discrimination thing when some people find out that some people do, a person or an individual has AIDS, as I'm sure I don't have to go into that.
No, you don't have to worry about it. We're out of here. This is Squeal any second because we know what this means, don't we? It's not Rex being crazy. We'll be back in a second. This is Squeal. This is the third segment. Otherwise, we're cutting it back to 2 segments next week because, of course, we all read the story and believed every bit of it. Half hour for Squeal because it was a 16-1 vote. Thank you, person one, who sent the disgruntled email around to the media behind our backs. Gee, you're welcome, the collective. Let me tell you right now, sweetheart. Dennis, can you sign that dirty joke you just told us about the 2 drag queens? Go on, Dennis. None of us will understand it.
What is it? Drag queens?
Oh, this is fascinating television. Keep going. It was gross. It really was. Can I tell my joke now? Yep. You signed that one, the one I just told before?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
Let's go.
Right, okay, this is Squeal. This is the last segment. We're out of here. Listen, normally at the end of the show, they normally thank everybody. Join Bent, crap. So let me just do it right now. Join Bent. Bent TV, PO Box 1414, Collingwood 3066, 1414 Collingwood 3066. Our new phone number, do you know it?
No.
Do you know
but
it?
become a member before the end of June, and you could be in the running for lots of prizes. Also, you're good to join up before then because prices will be going up after then.
That's true.
So,
yeah,
join us. Help us out.
Join,
and you can win.
We've got all these new people over here tonight. Today you can't see them. This is our last day at the Melbourne Metropolitan Fire Brigade too, which is sad. But it's our
The
choice.
studios are so lovely.
They actually want us to stay here, but we actually want to work more with the other 29 sector groups at 31 and set up our own independent
As it
studio.
is our last day at the fire station too. It's our last day seeing Clint down the road, Terminus. We
Oh,
want to
you're
say
right.
hi.
Things you do for free drinks, Amy. I can't.
We don't get free drinks. We
I
just
do.
love Clint. Oh, well, aren't you special? But that's
Now,
because of your favourite.
You're a filthy lesbian. I don't know how you lot do it. Glass House, Bent TV fundraiser, 1st of June. You're coming, Breee-an,
Yes, I'll be there.
because it's got bunking horses and
Bucking Broncos.
Bucking Broncos. It's quite seriously Glass House Hotel. We drink there. We hang out there. It's just not a dyke gig. It's a gay boy gig. It's a queer gig.
All my
it has
gay
great
boyfriends go.
music.
I know.
Yeah, well, we've actually scored there. You've scored there, haven't you, Chris?
No comment.
He's such a lawyer, he really
Lawyer.
is. Glass House, 1st of June, be there, fundraise for Bent TV. But mainly, Kira, Jules, thank you. Brenda on the door, Dolly on the microphone. Thanks for supporting us year after year.
Rawhide Rodeo, yeehaw,
It's
been
just
so much fun.
fantastic. Do a little dribble about somebody's daughter because they're fantastic.
Somebody's Daughter Theatre Company, I wanted to tell people about this. They are a group that have put on they're a group that help put on plays in the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, which is the female prison in Victoria. And I know we've got a large viewer base out there, so we'd like to say thanks for the play was very good, and Somebody's Daughter Theatre Company. It's very hard, I mean, going into that sort of situation and with all the, like getting sets they said they had problem with, and getting costumes, because it's just the restrictions they have to work under. So under the circumstances, Angels in the Midst by Somebody's Daughter Theatre Company was fantastic, and thank you to everyone at Deer Park Women's Prison.
That was very well done, very articulate. If some of them weren't lesbians in that group, we'd be outraged. And talk about lesbians.
They're not lesbians.
No, two of them are.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, there are lesbians in jail, but I don't know if they
No,
were.
they're in the show. That's all right, we'll talk about it later, Amy, she's just catching. Lesbiana, not only is Jude Dennis doing the news desk today, Lesbiana, we read it, another supporter, along with B News. We're not slagging B News because we actually think it was a really well-rounded article, and it's obviously the same in MCV as well. And obviously 3CR, we back them to the hilt for their subscribers on Radiothon, because before I was born, I know Chris was about 10 years older than me, they were quite radical in their era, weren't they, Chris?
Sorry, who was Radical Graham?
3CR.
They still are, and they still do good shows, good radio, good folks. Tune in, have a listen.
Yeah, and of course Triple R and every other community broadcast along with Channel 31, which we are part of. We are not Bent TV separately, and this whole blow-up has just brought it to a head. We are part of community broadcast. We're not a bunch of little gay boys and little dykes over in one bloody corner. We're all working together to give alternative views in this society.
But individuals make up that community.
Oh, yeah, and I'll put up with it some other time, you know, my view on that one. We're going to be out of here any second. Britt, quickly say one thing before we cut you off.
Okay, Bob Brown will introduce a private member's bill into the Senate in August that would effectively allow euthanasia in the Northern Territory if it
How
passes.
disgusting. Jude, where have you killed? Jude Dennis, news desk. I think you're going to go right now. We'll come back to Britt. Go run, Dennis.
Thanks, Graham. 2 weeks after national members of the Russian Parliament introduced a law which would make sex between men illegal, another MP has proposed extending the bill to include sex between women. Lesbians were responsible for the decline in Russia's population, said Alexei Mitrofanov. If a woman doesn't observe moral, ethical norms, then there will be no growth in the birth rate. Russia's population is falling by 800,000 a year, but this is due to the high death rate and high abortion rate and immigration. It is not clear how much support the proposed bill will gain in the parliament, which is dominated by communists and nationalists. Sex between men was decriminalised in 1993. Sex between women has never been illegal in Russia before. Last Saturday night, the first heat of Drag King's big boy band competition was won by the Strap-Ons. The three bands in the first heat were well rehearsed and put on good performances. Unfortunately, there was no luck for the band New Skids on the Jocks and Queen. If you're looking for something to do during the next month, there's a women's ball at Campbell's Creek. Girl will be on June 7th. And Central Victorian Lesbian Network will be holding a dance on Saturday, June 29th. And also don't forget Ladybird Lounge, which is on the first Saturday of every month. If you want to get in touch with Bent TV, the contact details are to post a letter. You post it to Post Office Box 1414 Collingwood 3066. You can phone Bent on 9484 1177. Or you can use the email or get into the webpage, and the details for these are on your screen now. And so that's back to you, Graham.
Thanks, Jude. Look, quite honestly, last Friday at the Star was pretty wild, and I'd like to personally congratulate Kelly Buckatan, Raquel Buckatan, for being part of the Strap-Ons and winning, and you better start paying the rent
And
right
Jez and
now,
Beck.
bitch. And I also, little sex slave, Beck, no, wait till I finish. Little sex slave Beck, because she's wild and bad, as we all know. And also, we both had Jez, haven't we, darling, a threesome?
No, you haven't.
Oh!
Jealousy's a curse. I wanted to, those bands too. I was really impressed. Like, it was a really high level of performance. They all must have rehearsed for ages.
Yeah.
They were all spot on.
Let's be quite
and
honest.
if anyone wants to get included and enter the boy band competition, speak to someone at King Victoria.
Exactly. Call Bumpy, and the fact that Bent TV members won just is quite amazing. It really is. Now let's get back to you and euthanasia. So what's your problem?
Well, I actually, the funniest bit of it, I think, is that Treasurer Peter Costello said he did not support euthanasia and there was no need to revisit the debate. He warned that legalised voluntary euthanasia could tempt people to do away with their elderly relatives.
Yes, John Howard!
Grandma's pissing me off, have a bit of morphine, you know?
I wouldn't waste it on my grandma, my parents. I'm my grandma's dead. I'd be whacking it up myself, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Go euthanasia. So you actually
Yes.
support it, do you?
Oh, definitely. I think everyone's got the right to decide whether or not they want to die with dignity or if their pain is too much or anything like that. It's their
Right.
choice. And, yeah, I don't think the government should say that people shouldn't.
So this is not part of the hardline gay left lobby with Bob Brown trying to introduce the fact that fags with HIV can kill themselves, is it?
I think it's perhaps just a little broader than that.
It's another one of those
Sure.
double standards, you know. They won't let people kill themselves, but they'll send young kids off to war
Exactly
and
right.
kill them, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Oh, so what keeps the capitalist war machine going? So people like me with shares can make money. What's your problem? They're only kids. I don't know them. You're a kid. Oh, well, come on, be serious. Fight back and say something. You said it all.
It was interesting, of course, Graham, last week, the last surviving Gallipoli Anzac veteran passed away. And look, it was a sad moment because, of course, in World War I, there was a whole generation, effectively, of young gay men, young men generally, in fact, who were encouraged to sign up and go overseas to die. And for what is the question that never gets really examined. So we all, and properly so, observe a moment's silence and respect out of the people who sacrificed their lives in the war. But the humbug and hypocrisy, if you like, of the government, which doesn't actually recognise that when we say lest we forget, we're saying lest we forget so that it never happens again. And at the moment we've got a government which is actually doing its best to try and make sure that it happens again.
Exactly. Well, that was my whole argument with it. I don't celebrate Anzac Day not because I don't value what those men and women did in the war and soldiers who fought. That's very noble, but I don't think that the government should have got involved and gotten into that situation in the first place. And in remembering it and having all these Anzac Day things, and they're talking about young people getting involved now, that's so that they can have a new generation of people willing to slaughter themselves for, you know, peace. You know, fighting for peace is like fucking for virginity. It can't be done.
Please, this is a family show. This is Squeal, a family show. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Britt, you're an offensive lesbian. You, Breee-an, little famous little black man you are, pure drinker. Dennis, thank you for your dirty jokes. Amy, you're just flying. Simply like Chris Gill, the famous Chris Gill. This is Squeal, we're out of here. See you next week. Don't we clap or some bullshit?
Bye!
It is so obvious. Start clapping yourselves. This is Squeal. We proudly sponsored by the Peel. I mean, any other drink. I drink at the Peel. I'm proud of it. Do you?
Yes.
Yep.
Jude, what are you doing with Dennis? You drink at the Peel. We're sponsored by the Peel. We're out of here. See you soon.